a lot happened this week. The biggest thing, and I think this is the thing we'll probably spend the most time on, is what's going on with Russell Brand. Earlier this week, the Times UK released an article about what was going on with him. I do not want to pay, so I could not read the full article, but I did link it because if you are interested in paying, you can. But USA Today, they did kind of an article recapping the article, and that's what I'm going to read here. Russell Brand's assault, rape, allegation. Also, I want to say trigger warning. Trigger warning. Russell Brand's assault, rape allegations being investigated. What his accusers say happened. Here we go. Comedian, actor, and social influencer Russell Brand is being accused of and denying rape, sexual assault, and abuse based on allegations from 4 women who knew him over a 7-year period at the height of his fame. In a report published September 16th, the Sunday Times, the London Times of London, the Times of London, and Channel 4's dispatchers revealed the accusations, which included 1 woman alleging Brand raped her, while 3 others accused him of sexual assault. Brand denied the allegations, maintaining all of his relationships have been consensual. The accusations have also spurred broadcasters such as BBC and Channel 4, where Brand, 48, was previously employed as a presenter, to launch internal investigations into his conduct. The Sunday Times, they spoke to him at the height, they spoke with the 4 women who knew him at the height of his fame, when he was in Get Into the Greek and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. One woman, who went by Nadia, accused the comedian of raping her in Los Angeles home in 2012. According to the report published, medical records showed that she was treated at a rape crisis center on the day of the alleged incident and had therapy sessions there for 5 months, but she declined to file a police report.
Wow.
A second woman, this is the one that I think is I have the most to say about this one. A second woman, referred to as Alice, said that she was in an emotionally abusive relationship with Brand over the course of 3 months in 2006. She was 16 and he was in his early 30s. During that time, Brand allegedly sexually assaulted her once. The age of consent in the UK is 16 years old.
Wow.
A third woman, Phoebe, said that she and Brand had a brief sexual relationship that ended when he allegedly sexually assaulted her in his home in early 2013 while they worked on a business project. Phoebe said that she did not report the incident out of fear of negative career impact. After the investigation was published, the Times reported more women have contacted the outlets with claims about Brand's behavior dating back to the early I guess, his early ages. Do you mind if I go first?
Go.
Okay, so I have many thoughts. The first thing is, I'm not quite sure why people are acting shocked about this. Russell Brand, at the height, not right now, because right now he is trying to rebrand, but at the height of his fame, he was known as sex, drugs, rock and roll. Like, this tracks. Like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because here's the thing, you guys, like, this is another reason why, and this is another L for hookup culture. Living in this lifestyle, like, there's going to be miscommunications. There's going to be, and some of it might not even, I can't say whether he did or not. I will say that we don't have enough information about whether he did or not. But this is, he's trying to say, oh, everything was consensual. Well, this is what happens when you're living that lifestyle. I mean, these are the results. That's one of the things. Another thing that I wanted to say, in regards to that, is I really, really, really hate this culture that we've created where we hear something and everybody has to take a hard, I agree with this person and I agree with that person. I think that is so dangerous. It is polarizing, and it's it's honestly kind of scary how things happen. I think I can say I don't know because I don't have enough information. I can talk about what the information I do have, which I will, and I will continue to do that. I do have the information that he was known as sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I do have the information that this girl was 16, and I'll talk about that in a second. So I can talk about the information we do have, but we do not know either way. And I think automatically saying, oh, he's evil, he's this rapist, he's this and that, I don't think that's right. But I also don't think, oh, this is a part of the Matrix. Tim Pool and some of the other men on his podcast sat on the podcast and are like, oh, this is part of the Matrix. Tim Pool even said in an episode, Tim Pool even said, now, like, when all these things happen, I don't believe it. He said something like, Andrew Tate. They already said this about Andrew Tate, but Andrew Tate can say all this stuff, and I'm just not going to believe it. Just, like, that's disgusting. And
wait. He said he wouldn't believe any woman.
He wouldn't believe if any of this information comes out because he thinks it's all part of, like, trying to ruin men. And let me say this really quick. This is kind of a tangent from this. The reason why we have got to do better and we are struggling with women is because at the end of the day, when people are Googling and, like, trying to figure out, oh, I want to learn more about culture and stuff, I want to learn more about politics, what they're doing is they're seeing clips like that. I'm sorry, that's dumb, that's stupid. No woman is going to want to listen to you. No woman's going to want to hear anything you have to say if you I don't believe anything. They bring out what's that, Andrew Tate out, they say another allegation, I'm not going to believe it because, I mean, that's just what they do. They're trying to get rid of everything because they're upset that YouTube decided to demonetize him. It's YouTube's platform. Like, that I don't understand. Anyway, so that's just, like, a side note. So we don't have to take, like, a hard stance either way. There is no Matrix. These are consequences of your actions. When you make mistakes like this, and you know what, he could be a better person. Like, that's another thing too. I do think there's room for grace. Like, if someone has changed, I do think there's room because he could be a different person. I know he's trying to brand himself as a different person. And that's the other thing too. He's becoming very chummy with, like, I think he was on Tucker, and, like, he's becoming very chummy with, like, people on the right, and, like Donald Trump, anti-vax, all these things. So all these people, all these men, which is so interesting. It feels almost like an emotional reaction, which is, like, weird because they're not supposed to be emotional. All these men are just automatically grabbing onto him and, like, yeah, he's in the he's anyway. That's just a side note.
Weird.
I wrote down a couple other notes.
You wrote down trash human behavior for one.
Right. Yes, trash human behavior. Another thing about him, and you know what, this kind of doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but I'm gonna share it anyway. He was married to Katy Perry, and before she went out for her concert, he texted her that he wanted a divorce. And let me say something about that.
Like, moments before she was walking, people.
Moments before she was going to perform. Let me say something about that. If you, and this is, I feel like I have to add this caveat. This is no shade if you feel as if your calling is homemaking. No shade to that. Those people who their calling is a little bit different than home. I don't want to say more. I'm just going to say different. Where they do perform. They could be a rock star for all I know. We could have rock stars listening. If you are a rock star, please come on the podcast. We would love to take some of your followers. You could be a rock star for all I know. You could be a medical doctor. I don't know. When you find your partner, the person you're going to marry, it needs to be someone who is going to uplift you, someone who is going to encourage you, someone who's going to support what God has called you to do. Because if you don't, you're going to, like, that is so, to do that before someone is going to perform something so big and important and major in their life, to do that is disgusting. It is, like I wrote in my notes, trash human behavior. Don't, like, if you are ever in a situation, you're about to do a big presentation and you're dating this guy and he tells you your outfit looks bad or something like that right before you go up.
Right.
Take note of that. That's not good. Even tiny things like that. If you
Red
are
flag.
dating someone and you're about to, it's your final, you have a final, and he texts you angrily. He knows you're going to your final and goes,
Right.
you were supposed to do X, Y, and you didn't do this for me
Right.
before your final. Take note of that. That's not a good guy.
Right.
You need to be with a guy who is going to support you in what God has called you to do. And in return, you're also going to support him in what God has called him to do. But you need someone who's going to support you in that. And a guy like that is trash human. And then the last thing I'll say is kind of going back to what I said. You do not have to, quote unquote, believe all women. I know that that's very popular, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't believe any women. You don't have to believe all women, but you also, I don't think, should automatically jump to, well, these women are lying because this is what it always goes down to. It's never, this one woman could be lying. It's women lying.
Yeah.
And not only are they lying, they're stupid and they're whores. And you know what? All women are evil. Down with the women. That it's never just like, I don't believe this one woman. It always girls. So that's my Russell Brand rant. Let's see how this plays out. Freeman, what are your thoughts?
I love everything you said. And I didn't actually make any notes on this because I think we added it last minute, and to be honest with you, like, I just did not know what to say. I mean, this is wild. This is so disappointing that, like, women are coming out saying this. I agree with you that there needs to be room for nuance in our society because for no reason people give their unsolicited opinion. And side note, we have a place where we will give you our solicited opinion because nobody wants an unsolicited opinion. Wait, that should be the tagline. Anyways. Okay. Anyways, gotta write that down. But I really do think that, like, there needs to be nuance in all these conversations because we have absolutely no idea what really happened. I mean, zilch, zada idea. Like, we would be kidding ourselves. And I really, that's why most of the time you ask me what I think of something, it's usually a non-answer because I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to, like, make a statement unless I have done all of the research available. Like, I have no statement on guns, people. Like, I have no statement on,
the environment
because I have, or like environmental legislation, because I don't know all the facts. So until I've done everything I can, I'm not going to make a statement. And I wish other people would embrace that a little bit. So let's be honest. I mean, it sounds like the 16-year-old situation, while let's assume this is true. While it is really unfortunate, really unfortunate that something happened between a 16-year-old and a 30-year-old, we can't say that it was statutory. And I think that argument is a lot more gray than the situation with Nadia, who had, a log of her going to a rape clinic, and then, like, 5 months of therapy right after the alleged date. And I mean, that's pretty clear. And I want to say, if let's say one of these is true. Let's say I become God and I know for a fact that one of these is true. That's an inclination that probably most of them are, if not more, because somebody who assaults once has or will assault again.
And that's a statistic. Like, that, this is not just something she's saying. This is statistically correct.
So, assuming there's a what is it? A 1 in 3 chance that this happened?
1 in 4, yeah.
I mean, if 3 people are alleging this, the odds are really stacked against him right now.
And I want to add about the 16-year-old. I forgot to say this. So I couldn't find it. I didn't really have time to look, but I'm going to look tomorrow. I was listening to a podcast, and they said that there are text messages between the 16-year-old and him during that time where she says something like, I told you no, and you didn't listen to me. And he says,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you, something like that. And I don't want to say
Oh
that
my
this is
gosh.
100% true. I'm going to try to find that article, and then when I do, I'm going to link it. I'm going to look for it. But like, and for example, like that's another good example. Like, he's not just some sweet, innocent, perfect. If this was Mike Pence, would we believe this? No. Or let me back up. If this was Mike Pence, would it be it would be more shocking. I guess it wouldn't align with his character. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
If it was Mike Pence, it wouldn't align with his character. And once again, I'm not saying that, like, you know, if
we
it
wouldn't
really
believe
didn't,
them, or we would hate them
right.
because this is some, witch hunt.
And I also don't want to say, like, I'm blaming him. Like, let's say every single person is lying and it really is some sort of plot. I'm also not trying to blame him and say, like, he shouldn't have lived this fast and loose lifestyle either. I'm not trying to blame him, but I mean,
victim blaming.
I'm not victim blaming. If he wasn't the one, like, if people really,
if he was in fact the victim,
if the Matrix really is out to get him, I'm not trying to victim blame him. I'm just saying, like, living fast and loose, things get fast and loose. I mean, the 16-year-old thing, like, that's just, how can you sit here and we can't believe them, and they're just trying to get him. I mean, they're just trying. And Megyn Kelly also had a really good she had a really good clip. I'll try to link that too about this. She was very upset because of the whole 16-year-old, because it's so crazy. All these people on the right specifically will go, oh, 16, so young for girls, da da da. And then all of a sudden someone they like, well, it's the age of consent. And
oh gosh,
you just sound stupid. And it's all over Twitter. And it's so
she's mature for 16.
Right. It's so crazy and frustrating. Either 16 is a child or it's not.
Right.
And you can't have it both ways. And I'm sorry, 16 is a child. It is.
Yeah.
When our great-grandparents were 16, sure, I'll give you that. They might not have been as, like, my grandmother was married at 16 and she was mature enough. Me, even my mother, my parents' generation was not mature enough at 16. I'm sorry. Like, that's just the truth.